Hi, welcome to the new episode of Sportsy Let's Aim Sports. Today we have with us Pranay Hasina Sunil Kumar, also known as Prannoy HS or Kumar. He's an Indian badminton player and currently trains at the Gopichan Badminton Academy in Hyderabad. Pranay originally hails from Thiruvananthapuram and is one of the top Indian player in badminton, currently world 30 and with the highest career ranking of 8 in 2018. Prannoy came to prominence after winning the silver medal in boys singles in 2010 Summer Youth Olympics. He didn't stop there and followed up with his another silver, this time at the Bahrain International Challenge 2011. After his accolades at the youth level, he won multiple BWS Grand Prix and Challenger Series throughout his career. Please welcome winner of multiple BWS Grand Prix as well as the Challenger Series, a Commonwealth Game 2018 Mixed Team gold medalist, Prannoy Kumar. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle Sportsy Says across all the social media platforms. Hi Prannoy, it's great to have you on Sportsy Let's Aim Sports.
Thank you. Thank you, Sid.
So for the viewers, we have Prannoy Kumar with us. He is a badminton player, India's national badminton player, international badminton player, currently world 30, but had a highest career ranking of 8. Came into limelight and burst into the scene with 2010 Summer Youth Olympics. And after that, he has had an amazing journey. Yes, there are some setbacks with injuries, some of the things that you work, and we get to hear that in the next 20 minutes of our chat with Prannoy. So, Prannoy, it's the first question I always ask the athlete that come on the platform is, was badminton was always the first choice?
Not really, I would say, because I think back days, badminton was not really popular, and obviously a kid coming from Kerala, I think to aspire big in badminton was very tough. And I think initially my dad used to play a lot of badminton, and that's how I actually got into into the scene. But I would say if my dad was not there, then I would have never played badminton, because I don't think badminton was that much popular back days, and I was very much interested in cricket back days, and used to play a lot of cricket, and I used to do a lot of athletics in my school, and it's not in a professional way, but then still I used to take part in all the athletic events, and I used to really like running on the track and all those things. So if you ask me if this is the first love, then definitely not. But things changed over a period of time, and then you slowly start to kind of like the game. And when it's an individual game, the the interest is totally different. I mean, the way you like the game is totally different. And when you start getting those results, that happiness is in a much different level. I can imagine if you play cricket, you won't be really happy if the team wins. You really want to have that individual performance, but there are a lot of times where you don't really perform really well, but eventually the team wins.
Correct.
But in this scenario, I think it's only you, and it all depends on what you do on that particular day in court. So I think that kind of a feeling got later on when I started playing, and that was the main reason that I chose the sport and started to continue, because it was a totally personal thing, and it all depends on how much hard work you do, and it's not dependent on what others do to you. So I think that was the main reason for me to start playing the sport. And
Oh, nice. So you're always in sports, playing everything else but badminton. Obviously, badminton because of dad, but it actually happened. But that was a time when you actually thought that badminton is going to be your career.
Yeah, so I remember, I think when I was, say, 15 or 16, I think I was decently playing in the national circuit. And Was not having big results, but then I was consistently playing quarters and semifinals in the national rankings and all India. So that was a phase where I think you feel good as a player. And once I think when I got into the Indian team for the first time and I was in the sub junior last year, you feel good. I mean, and those couple of years, you feel that you're on top of the world, because you feel when you get those first T-shirt from, say, the Indian camp saying that you have selected to the Indian team, those occasions are all very special, and I think you keep those T-shirts forever, I would say. And I remember I still have those T-shirts at home, and but I think the shift happened probably 2 years later, when when I finished my 10th. That was a time when I had to decide, and luckily parents were very much encouraging, saying the fact that you can try sport for the next couple of years, and if nothing happens, then we still have time to come back and do something on the studies aspect, because I was not really bad in studies. I was scoring pretty decent in 10th also. So that was one thing which was obviously getting in, say, in between sport and say academics. And I think the major barrier where a sport where a sports person has to decide when to take that call. And I think I took that call around when I was in 10th, and luckily it worked out. I would say in the next couple of years I had decent results. When I was playing in the juniors, I had decent results, and I was not really behind. And that's when I shifted to Hyderabad and thought I will give it a try. And I thought I was improving. I was improving every year, and that gave a lot of confidence. So yeah.
So, as you said, right, this started with dad playing badminton. Then you got into it around 10th. You said that, okay, let me give it a thought. And you said very easily that I was not bad in studies. But we have usually heard that good athletes are also good in studies. They are not bad in studies, because I think the sports helps them with the focus that is required. You don't have to do a lot of studies, but I think the focus as an athlete which you develop, that usually helps. So
I think it's not just about focus, but I think if when you are in a sport, you always find, or you always try to find things to make your game easy, right?
Yes.
And you're always in search of things where you feel that if I do it in this way, I might get a better result, or if I do it in this way, you might get a better result. So you're always in that quest. And I think now also, say I'm 28 right now, still I am in that quest where every day you're trying to find out which things works for you. And when it comes to studies, I think it directly correlates, where when you take a book, you know, okay, these things are the ones which I need to study, and you don't need not do the entire syllabus for the exams. So I think that is the main reason where players are a little bit more smarter, where you always get to that feeling where you try to get that right thing to be done in a very less time. So that's why I always feel that all the kids should play some kind of a sport, not just for fun, but it gives you a lot of other ideas in life, and you'll definitely pick up things much faster than usual.
Correct. And I'm sure the kids listening to this will be surely following that, because if it's coming from somebody like Prannoy, then they better follow that. He has been there, done that. So it's good. So Prannoy, coming to the next question that I had, you spoke about you were there after 10th, you took a rare chance to take it full-fledged on the badminton side, and you had a great result 2010 Youth Summer Olympics, getting a medal there. And after that, you again followed up with a Bahrain International Championship as well. Uh, but you've been having a roller coaster ride in the whole ups and downs. So, as an athlete, while you're growing up, how do you actually deal with these highs as well as lows?
I think it's very important to understand that once you are done with the juniors, I think to get into the seniors is an uphill task. And I think the positive part was that I realized it very quickly, saying things are not going to be easy, and it is going to be a roller coaster. and there would be a lot of disappointment in the beginning, and I told myself that I'll have to be ready for that. And if I don't take that, or if I don't take those say disappointments, then I'm never going to make it
Right.
into the senior circuit, because you have thousands of players who are playing in the senior circuit, and all of them are damn good. And when it comes to an international level of badminton, then it's going to be really really hard. And
Right.
to just to win one round in an international challenge, which is the lowest category of tournament, is going to be an uphill task. And I
Yes.
remember 2011, 2012, I went to Europe trip, played three tournaments, all three first rounds, came back, and we have no clue what's happening. And there have been seasons where you just go to the tournaments, you play, but you don't know what's happening, and there's only defeat which is in your paper, and there is not even one thing which is positive. The but I think the major factor there was that I accepted this much before, and I was ready for this.
Mhm.
And slowly I started to understand how the world badminton is, and how I need to really get through each opponents, and how to play against each kind of say different kind of players from different parts of the world, because so many European players same kind of style. Some of the
Mhm.
Asians play in a very similar kind of style. So all those things took a while for me, a couple of years to understand, to play. And I think it was really important for me to have some kind of a support to at least play those 2 3 years. And I was lucky that I got into GoSports Foundation at that point of time, and obviously till now they have been supporting me. But
Correct.
those initial years were, I would say, nightmares, where to play a tournament in Europe, three tournaments in Europe, you will have to break your FD. All those things are really tough. So when you imagine those things, I would say that I'm lucky that I had a support at that point of time,
Right.
and they helped as much they could. And because of that, you could play a lot of tournaments, a lot of exposure, and then slowly you understand how it is. And then from 2012 2013, the graph was going up, and
Mhm.
I
Yes.
was I was improving in the rankings. I was playing decent from 2013, where I was playing semifinals of challenges and
Yeah.
quarterfinals. So I think it's a graph which is going to be very 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 slow.
Hmm.
And some people go extraordinarily fast, and just because they are very extraordinary,
Yeah.
and out of 10 it might be one or two, but the
Correct.
rest eight, their graphs are going to be like that only. And you will have to trust that process, and you'll have to trust your training. And these kind of exposures are very very important to the young generation. And I'm sad that these days we don't have that kind of an exposure to the
Mhm.
juniors. We have very less support to the junior system. And I still wonder, so many people playing on their own expense, and
Yeah.
that's just very very hard. And you can hardly play a couple of tournaments in a year, and then you're done and dusted. So
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of very very good players not able to play just because there is no support. But I hope the next coming, at least in the next 10 years, we have a system placed where some kind of importance is given to the next generation also.
Right.
And they are nurtured, so that you have a lot behind once the cream is finished. So
Yeah.
now, if you see, we have Saina and Sindhu, but once they are done, then we don't have anyone in
Correct.
that caliber. It's just because we don't have a system which actually gets players
Yeah.
on that level continuously, and letting them play a lot of tournaments and get that feel. And I feel
Correct.
slowly you'll know how to play the international tournament. So yeah.
So, I think it was very nice way of saying that trusting the process is something that people have to look at, and I think you have done that. And to do that, you had a support from GoSport. Uh, but what was the biggest thing that you felt that the GoSport offered, which probably helped you played freely and try and have the bigger graph?
Well, I would say from GoSports point of view, because I've seen a lot of them, a
Yeah.
lot of structures uh, which are very much similar to GoSports, and I've seen there's a lot of pressure from the other sides, where Where for me, there was no pressure. I would say very frankly, there was no pressure. They just wanted me to play because they trusted in my instincts and in my performances back days,
Right.
obviously. And they thought that I'm a world beater if I come to the men's category, and if I am nurtured properly, there is a big scope for me. And they trusted in their process, and
Mhm.
I trusted in my process. The biggest plus point being with GoSports was, uh, first of all, there was less pressure. I mean, very less pressure because, as I said, when I went to the Europe trip, and there were so many other tournaments also where the results were first round, first round, first round. But there was no pressure saying that, okay, if you don't perform in this particular, by this particular time, you will be out.
Right.
That gives mm, way too much pressure.
Correct.
And if you're in a badminton court, all these things keeps coming.
Yeah.
And how much ever you deny saying that, no, when I'm playing, I'm only focusing on the shuttle. That's not true. Whenever you are on court, you always think, oh, I've spent so much money. I need to win this. I need to win
Correct.
this one round. So
Correct.
all these things were, and especially when you are young, when you are 20, 21, you always feel that pressure. And luckily for me, that pressure was very less from GoSports side. And I'm glad that during that time I had a couple of injuries also where uh, it was taking time. It took time for me to, especially in 2012, and I had a back injury which I took almost 7 to 8 months to come back to the court.
Mhm.
The team was very much helpful in doing all the activities surrounding the injuries, and that was very important. And I felt, as a player, you feel a lot of security when someone does like that, and the entire team was very happy. And I never felt a negative energy from their side,
Yeah.
which is really really important as an athlete. And I think then by 2013, when the progress started, and the ranking started to get better, they also started to feel better. And they also understood the fact, saying that it takes times to build a champion. And
Correct.
it's not like overnight you are supporting someone and by 2 3 months they are going to be champion. And I've seen so many structures where they tell that, if you don't perform in the next 6 months, then you're out of the
Yeah.
this thing. And that is, I feel at first place you should not take those kind of players if you don't trust them for the
Yeah.
next couple of years. If you're taking it for 6 months, that means you're not trusting the player.
Yeah.
So I feel that I've seen with a lot of players, and I've seen them struggling because of that.
Mhm.
It gives much more, what do you say, pressure to perform at the highest level, which is not right. You should give that freedom for the player to perform. And I think GoSports gave that freedom for me to perform.
Excellent. And I think you just mentioned about the injury period, and they were there with you. Other than them being together, they being supportive of that. How was the injury? How do you, as a professional athlete, looks at injury period from the mental side of it?
Well, it was tough, I would say. Initially, it took time for me to understand how to deal with this because I had never been injured, or say in the junior time, you don't get really injured. I mean,
Correct.
and under 19, 19, 20, all those pains are all niggles where which will be fine after 3 4 days. But once you get into the senior circuit, you'll have those big kind of breaks where you'll be out of action. And first 2 years until 2012 to 2014, I was trying to sort how to deal with this. And I
Hmm.
had 3 4 pretty much bad injuries at that point of time. And the first thing which I learned uh, was to stay away from a lot of negativity, which I think has helped me a lot
Yes.
in my entire career. Where there are people who are very much positive, there are people who are very much negative. Where you can, out of 10, you will get
Yeah.
people who are like that. And I made sure that I am away from those people who are much negative, and who keeps telling that it takes time for you to recover or whatever negativity. But
Right.
and I started to be with people who are much more positive, and who have already faced this kind of a situation. And that kind of really helped when I was started when I really started to know what injuries was. and then probably the second situation was to accept the fact that you're injured, and a lot of us try to really fight back against it, and we try to work even more extra when there is something wrong. But I think that doesn't really work, because if you're injured,
Yeah.
and you'll have to give it time. You'll have to give it time to get better. Some injuries are like that, where you can't do anything. It just has to
Yeah.
heal by themselves. And the only thing which you can do is, which I did, was to stay away from badminton, because you always, when you are going to the sessions, you see them playing, then you get even more irritated, because you feel that you're going behind in in your in your game. And you can see, and when you think that, okay, in the next 4 to 5 months I won't be even able to even knock a shuttle, then
Yeah.
you're heartbroken. So
Right.
those kind of feelings, I think it's better to stay away from, rather than going out there every day and trying to see what they're doing. So I stayed away from it as much as I could, and I was only focusing on things which I had to do during the injuries. And I was trying to do something else which was not really the part of my badminton schedule. And
Mhm.
those kind of things actually help. And because I've seen a lot of them coming to game sessions, coming to the practice sessions when they're injured, and thinking that when will I able to play, when will I able to, and they keep cribbing, and they keep cribbing about that fact, saying that I'm injured for this much month and I cannot play. So but I feel that is one thing which you cannot do anything, which has happened. So the only thing which you can do is to get better as soon as possible and come back and play. So yeah.
Excellent. I think that's a very simple message and about coming out of this, and I think that is what showed the result that you had when amazing the Asian Games. Sorry, you had the South Asian Games in 2016, then you had the Asian Championship bronze in the 2018, Commonwealth gold mixed team in 2018. I think that was a great achievement. In addition to all the Grand Prix as well as the Champion Series that you have won. Uh, so in this period, you we saw that in team India you had your contemporaries like Shrikant, Jairam, and Shri Kashyap. Everybody's forming a great team, and when there is a great competition within the team, I think it also sets the benchmark high. So the Prakash Padukone Academy or Gopichan Academy, all those things are doing phenomenal work in this place. But how do you think this kind of structure, which India never had earlier, with those so many strong contemporaries at one single level, has actually helped Indian badminton to rise?
Yeah, definitely. I would say there were quality players at one point, where at the same point, I would say, where
Mhm.
we had a lot of competition among ourselves to
Correct.
do better. And I think that was one foremost reason for good uh, good graph for especially the men's singles
Correct.
players in India, where I think back days in 2006, 2008, we had Anup, we had Nikhil, but Chetan, all these players were very good. But I would say a structure where everyone were playing together, uh, and where there were almost 10 of them at almost uh, say same level was missing at that point of
Mhm.
time. So the competition also was not that big. But just probably after 4 5 years, once Kashyap, Guru, all these guys were playing really well, and the next step towards that was to be in the top tens of the world. I think Chetan, Anup, all of them were in between 10 to 20, and
Yes.
they all were extremely doing well. But the next step was to be in that top tens, and to be consistently over there for a while was the next challenge. And for that, I felt that this kind of a structure actually helped, especially someone like
Mhm.
Srikant, me, Sai, we all of them. I think we knew that we cannot be lagging behind in the training sessions, because
Mhm.
everybody's just behind you. And even in one single tournament, if you lose your focus, then you're out of this ranking, or if you're
Right.
behind this guy and you might lose your spot in Commonwealth Games or Asian Games because you have only two spots.
Correct.
And out of 10 people, you have to be in the top two. Or someone, let's say for something like an Olympics where you have only two spots, or you have only one spot right now, and one more has to qualify. So it's a very, very tough competition. It's not like some other sport where a random qualification happens and
Yeah.
you just have to perform in that particular tournament where there's no say where there is no world champion or a Olympic champion.
Right.
It's just the qualification criteria is different for each and every sport. But I think for badminton, it's very, very cruel. For someone
Yeah.
being in the top, you say for someone being in the top 25 also, when you say I won't be playing in the Olympics. And
Yeah.
that's just very hard to take. And you can
Correct.
see people who are world number 100, world number 120, 140 in other sport being playing in the Olympics and representing India, and you feel that this sport is cruel, where you have you have you have you have you have been working really hard to get into that top cream of the world badminton, and you are there, but you are not able to
Go.
uh, go to major events. So that is a tough spot. But I think because of that competitiveness, a lot of good results came instead. And I would say 2015 to 2018, things were going really, really well. And we had very, very good results coming back to back, not just a couple of events, but we had consistent performance
Yeah.
for a very lot of say a lot of time. And I remember in 2017 also I had a very good run for almost
Yes.
1.5 years, and came into the top eights, but could not sustain much. But I think as a player, I'm very glad that I could play at that level, at
Mm.
least for that much level, and I still think that I can still play at that level if I'm physically all right. So
Yeah.
so I think yeah, this kind of a atmosphere has actually helped a lot of players, and you always feel like going to the training sessions. You always feel like getting better, and I think that is one thing which we need to incorporate in the next coming generations also, where we have a very healthy competition amongst ourselves, so
Yes.
that you're always on your toes, thinking about the results, and that will automatically uh, make your graph better.
Nice. So Pranay, on the same line that okay, you spoke about competition and it's a competitive sport. So when you're talking about playing with the kids, there's typical thing that they hit a wall somewhere that I'm not able to beat this player, and they start creating the mind block. So I'm sure while growing up and even your professional career, you must have faced those kind of situations. How do you actually deal with a situation where I'm not able to beat this player, but I go with a fresh mind and try it again with the same zeal. So what is that mental thing that you do?
Well, I think there are a couple of things in that same thing which I've asked. Where for me also, I felt a lot of times where against a certain particular player, I'm not able to win. And
Yeah.
how do you or what do you do to change it? And there are certain times when you feel you lose to a much lesser ranked players, and then your confidence is totally gone, and
Yes.
then you then you question yourself, saying do you belong to this side, or do you belong to say the world top 10? And I think I have experienced both, and I still experience it obviously when you
Mhm.
go to smaller events. I think when I went to Orleans also, I lost to a junior player from India, and you still get those kind of results in between, where you get that feeling that okay, are you done with this, or
Yeah.
are you not able to play like before? But I think for me, I have always thought in a very different way, especially when it comes to a particular opponent.
Hmm.
It's all trial and error.
Okay.
And you do this one thing, next time when you go, you do another thing and try. Next time you again do something else which you have not done for the first two times. So it's just trial and error. And I remember going to this All England. I again had to play against Darren Liu in the first round, and I had lost four times before All England to Darren Liu, and that too in the last 1.5 year. And I was totally out of clue, saying that what should I play against him, because he's a very tricky player. He's able to play very easily against me, all those things. And when I went to All England also, this was the same thing which I was thinking. But I thought, let me do something a little bit different this time. I've been trying things which was different, but I thought this time I will do extremely different thing, which I'm not used to. But I thought I will have to do this, because there was no other way I was winning against him, and it got him with surprise, and I went on to win the match 21-10, 21-10. And that's when you that's when you understand that, okay, this is the thing which works for you. And this is how I think each and every player needs to find those answers. And I remember Gopi sir also telling me once, where he said that you knock 10 doors, maybe that's not enough. You will have to knock the 11th door also, and that might be the answer for you. And you will have to keep knocking it. And that is how you evolve as a player. And I think that thing always reminds me whenever I'm traveling, and whenever I'm in a situation like this, I always think about that thing, saying that this might be the next door. This way of playing might be the next door, and you'll never know. And I was pretty surprised with the way all England happened. I was like, whoa, okay, 21-10, 21-10, it is good. And then now you know, okay, this is how you need to play. So that's how I tackle with something like a personal opponent. But when it comes to a time where you are in doubt of your self-confidence and you're losing with your young players, I think I've always thought that I can beat anyone in the world, and I've done that so many times. Not just once, but so many times. And now also I feel I'm the one who can beat the top 2 or top 3 whoever is playing well. On a particular day, I can beat them all in the top 10. So I just need that particular kind of a game on that particular day, which if I'm able to execute, I can actually win against these guys. So that kind of a confidence I have had since 2015, because I had those kind of results since then, and I started trusting on that. And when I lose against these kind of younger players who are much quicker, who are much faster these days, actually I'm not really concerned, because I know that it might be an off day, or it might be something which I was not ready for. And mentally I need to work a little bit more on those kind of lines. So I just take the positive out of it, and really don't care on that losing part, because it's just another game, and I have to learn from those kind of games. But I think the important part for me was to think that I've done much bigger things before this, and I know that exact game which needs to be played to beat the top 10s of the world. So if I have that, then I can beat anyone. So yeah.
Excellent. And on the same note, what has been your best moment yet?
I don't know. I think Asian Games bronze was very special for me, because I remember the week before Commonwealth Games happened, and it was a heartbreak for me, because I couldn't get a medal in the individual event, and I had a very tough 2 matches in semi-finals, and the losing semi-finals on the same day. And I was kind of heartbroken, where I thought I could have beaten Lee Chong-wei, but then Lee Chong-wei was playing at just another level. And but I was very sad that I couldn't get that bronze medal. But and I was not in a mood to go and play ABC the next week. It was just the next week. We had 5 days of practice and had to go. But from there to go and win a medal was big thing for me, because that disappointment was big disappointment for me. And because everybody in the team had a medal, say individual medal, and I was the only one who didn't have an individual medal. And I remember I spoke to Gopi Bhai for almost 2 to 3 hours on that particular night, and it was 3 a.m. and we were talking. And but I think he told me that the next week is important, and you'll have to keep training. And didn't come. The result didn't come where I expected, and it came where I totally didn't expect, because ABC is something like a world championship where all the Asians play, and from first round you'll have to be on the top. And
Yeah.
I remember the draw was super tough for me, but I had crossed each and everyone, and then eventually lost in the semi-final. So that was a big result for me individually, if you say. Yeah. And obviously after 11 years someone won a bronze medal for Indian ABC, and I remember
Correct.
after Anup in 2007, I think I won in 2018, and for me that was kind of a big achievement that time. Yeah.
Excellent. And from here, where do we see Prannoy going from here?
I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough question because Corona has say wiped out everything right now, and
Yeah.
things are looking bleak. I would say, obviously, with the way things are happening, with the way tournaments are happening,
Yeah.
we have very less tournaments right now. And but I think if you say in the next 2 years, I still think I have a lot of badminton left, and
Yeah.
um, and
And we want to see a lot of badminton in you.
yeah, I think I've been in the last 2 years. I've been struggling really a lot with the physical issues, and not just injuries. I didn't have much of injuries, touch wood, but then I had a lot of physical issues as such, and COVID also came in between for me, and things were upside down for a while. So yeah, I hope I'm able to play without any physical issues, and once I am at least 70 to 80% good to go with physical thing, then I am sure that there are a lot of good results waiting. And it's just 6 days of tournament, or say I always believe that in just 6 days of tournament you need to be good for 6 continuous days,
Yeah.
and things will just change.
Yeah, and we are just waiting for that. We're just waiting for
Yeah.
that, and we want to see you back on the court. Just wanted to ask one more thing. Who is being your sporting icon?
Sporting icon, I would say Tawfiq, because Tawfiq Hidayat, when I was kid, I used to watch a lot of badminton, and I used to watch a lot of badminton only because of him. Frankly, I
Okay.
would say only because of him, and that made me feel that I want to play like him,
Oh, nice.
and I would always feel that someday I wanted to play like him. And so from junior time, it was a dream that someday people should tell that I'm playing like a Tawfiq. So I think that was the initial, the guy who kind of gave me that spark to say,
Okay.
uh, you should play badminton. So I would obviously rate him as my idol, I would say.
Okay, great, great. And my last question to you, Pranay, is some advice that probably you got while growing up, which really helped you, is something that you might want to pass on to the next generation. What that could be?
Yeah, I think recently I spoke to someone who was very close to me, and I was telling him that things are not working as usual, so I'm kind of struggling. So the one thing which he told me was, just remember why you started playing badminton, and when you start to play badminton, when you are in that area uh, where you had achieved so much, and then you are in a very bleak time, you start to think in a very different way, and and you you start to um, uh, stop loving the game, I would say. You
Mm-hmm.
don't really enjoy playing, and he said you should start enjoy playing, or you should start enjoying this process in a much better way. And I would say to all the kids that this is not a thing which you this is not a sport where things are going to come in a very easy way. If you are getting into badminton, if you're getting into any sport in
Yeah.
general, things are not going to be easy. But the most important thing is to enjoy the process, enjoy the ups and downs, because if a down is happening, then surely an up is going to come, and that's how it is, and that's how the graph works. So you just have to wait patiently, and most more importantly, just enjoy these kind of bigger things, which say whenever it happens, whenever you're able to play a tournament, enjoy those big event. And whenever I go get into an all England court, I enjoy that atmosphere, enjoy that big stadium. Thinking about winning and losing is one thing which makes it really tough,
Yeah.
and just avoid that. I know it's very easy to tell, but then as much as you can, just avoid that and try to enjoy all those other things which are happening around you, because then you will play your best. So that's what I have felt in the last 12 to 13 years of my career, and especially in the last 2-3 years, where whenever I've enjoyed the most, I've played very, very well. So yeah.
And we hope that you keep enjoying the game for longest of the time, and that is what we are looking forward to. And Pranav, it is great chatting with you. It's wonderful to hear about your experiences and a complete what I say. It's a complete candid conversation, which is straight from the heart. I think it was wonderful. Thank you for your time, and wish you all the best. And take care and stay safe.
Yeah, thank you, Sid. Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle Sportsy Says across all the social media platforms.